Let's invite Neeraj, Seth, founder and chief investment officer at 3R Investment Management, on the show now. Neeraj, thank you very much for joining in. Limited global cues to discuss today. U.S. markets will open after an extended weekend, being shut yesterday for Presidential Day, and Asian markets was largely shut on account of Lunar New Year. So let's begin with the AI scare trade, because we've seen a massive sell-off. Like, global tech names have lost nearly $2 trillion in market capitalization in the month of February. In India, the Indian IT index is down 13% in the last fortnight. So at 3R Investment Management, what are you all doing? Do you own tech stocks? And what is the view now after the weakness?
So sure. First of all, we're more focused on credit across the region. But from a broader market perspective, I do want to highlight two aspects of AI which are actually playing out. And we have talked about it in the past. The first is the investors are questioning the AI capex and the potential return on investment on that capex. And you're seeing that playing through some of the direct players in the AI market. And the second is the second order effect of AI, specifically in software and services, where you're seeing a significant pressure on a number of software companies, not just in India, but across the globe, with what's happening in AI and how that evolves from the standpoint of the business model of the software businesses. And I don't think we have seen the end of it. So this is certainly something that will continue to keep some caution and pressure in the markets.
You mean in the US Mag 7 perhaps under a bit of fire going forward? That's what you mean, Neeraj?
I would say more differentiation. Even in the Mag 7, you don't see the performance to be actually similar across those 7 stocks, let aside the rest of 493 in the S&P 500. So the point is, you have seen the market have started to differentiate in terms of trying to predict who the winners and losers will be, or how to think about the return on investment from these large capex announcements, because not every announcement from a capex perspective is actually giving the boost to the stock, which was the case last year. So I think you will see more differentiation, and you will see obviously that, in a way, good thing that it will lead to broadening of the investors' portfolios with regards to diversification.
All right. Hi, good morning. Good to see you in. I wanted your view on the dollar index. I was looking at a Bank of America survey that suggested that the shorts on the dollar index, that's the highest that we've seen in the last 14 years or so. Now, there's a lot of talk that maybe much of the easing is behind with regard to what the Fed has to do. And the optimism has cooled off with regard to the cuts that we'd like to see this year. In that sort of a backdrop, do you think the dollar index is nearing a bit of a base formation, or do you think it gets weakened further from here on?
So I look at it in two horizons, the near term and more medium to long term. In the near term, you're absolutely right. I think there is a consensus positioning building up. And with the CPI where it came, the markets are pricing more than 2.5 cuts now from the Fed, which I think is on the higher side. I don't expect another more than 1 to 2 cuts at most. Which means in the near term, dollar can actually strengthen. But longer term, looking at the fundamentals, the balance of payment, and the expensive nature of where the dollar is, I still think in the next few years, dollar still has room to weaken further, which is good news for the emerging markets. But near term, I'll be cautious on being short dollar here.
Neeraj, what I want to do is, and we'll cue this up, and I want to just play out these sound bites. And you might want to hear it. I just wanted your thoughts on this, right? You spoke about the dispersion in U.S. Tech stocks and, what you expect. I mean, the market's not responding to the news flow around the big U.S. tech names the same way it used to last year when these big investments, et cetera, were being announced. So we had, of course, we had this big AI summit in Delhi. But the CEO of the AI giant, Anthropic, is, of course, also in India. To attend the summit. He was in Bangalore yesterday to announce the company's new offices. And this is what he had to say. It's basically saying that India is the second largest market for the company's popular chatbot, Claude. He says, well, the use of Claude in India is basically for highly technical purposes, which was interesting. I just want to play that out.
Anthropic's business, its run rate revenue within India has doubled over the last 4 months since I last visited. And Claude Code may have grown even faster. We're just going through the ability to kind of build software with AI and build as kind of developers on top of AI, and build build new applications. And I think, again, just the kind of efficiency of the market here, the energy of very large numbers of people wanting to, find something and build something, I think that greatly exceeds, what I've seen anywhere else. You shouldn't build for where the AI models are now. You should build for where they are in a year or two. If you're a large enterprise, if you're, a big effort trying to build something, it's going to take a while to actually deploy and test things. So, you should be imaginative about where the technology is going to go. Don't build for step 4 out of a 10-step workflow. Try and do the whole workflow, even if the AI model isn't quite capable of it yet. The companies that have understood that, the kind of users that have understood that, I think have gotten much further ahead than others, and they kind of see the future because they're able to use models in ways that correspond to a product that we haven't released yet.
Okay, and now, of course, Dario is going to be in Delhi on 19th. There is the big panel in which there's Sam Altman and Anthropic and Microsoft and others, etc. Neeraj, any thoughts? Indian IT services? I don't know if you have any feedback at all.
So two points on that. The first, I would say, we are now moving from the very basic AI application hardware infrastructure story to the beneficiary story. And it's going to move from the point solution, which is the productivity enhancement at individual level, to a system redesign, is what you heard in the points he made. And the second is, I am actually quite optimistic in the long term in terms of India's ability to pivot and position itself as one of the service providers with AI for system redesign, not point solution, which brings me back to 1990s when the whole IT revolution started. So I think there is a potential for the IT services companies, specifically the ones who can pivot, to position more alongside AI, helping the underlying businesses to benefit on the productivity side. We haven't seen that as yet, and hence the market is nervous. But I'm very certain on one thing: not all software or services companies are going to go away in the next 10 years. It's going to be a more who is able to pivot and actually provide the differentiation in terms of the services. And I think it's going to happen. I'm quite optimistic in the medium term on some of the better quality IT services firms in India.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, and good chat there, Neeraj. Thanks for your time. Let me just